ready.
Well, welcome to another edition of Hockey Hitmen. I'm Joe Fresta.
And I'm DiMaggio. It's a pleasure to be here again, Joe.
How about our new studio?
Oh, man, are you kidding me?
It's wonderful, isn't
Now
it?
we're not the most beautiful things in the room anymore.
No, there's too much
competition.
Too much glam back here.
No, I like it, man. It's
nice, isn't it?
It is very nice. That's
show off all the hardware of the NHL.
I like it. Most of which we have, right? We have a
we
in St. Louis. We got a few
a
of those.
little bit of that. Yeah, for the time being.
So yeah, that's our new backdrop. It's not just doesn't make me look fat now. I think.
No,
well,
black. There's a lot of black.
There you go.
It's supposed to make you look thin.
That's what I need help.
Yeah.
Well, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weather's good. You know, it's
nice.
It's hockey weather, right?
It is beautiful.
So here we are.
It's awesome. I'm excited, and
tis the season.
I've been watching a lot of games the last week, and I'm pretty pumped. It's been some pretty cool hockey.
You know, I just had a thought come to mind.
Okay.
Just off the cuff, have you seen the jerseys for the Winter Classic this year?
No, I have not.
The Dallas Stars and the Nashville Predators.
I didn't see them.
Yeah.
And what's your thought?
Pretty bland.
Yeah. I'll look them up while we talk.
Well, you like to see the throwback type thing.
Sure.
They have a throwback look, but the Predators and the Stars don't have much to throw back to. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of thrown these things together, and they kind of look like jerseys you wear at a senior men's league.
You know
or
what I was
something.
thinking I was thinking the other day. It's funny you say that because I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool to bring the Minnesota North Stars jersey back?
That's what they should have done.
Why wouldn't they have done that? They are that team.
They are that team. They did come. They were the franchise that moved from there.
Right.
Well, they may have given those trademarks and stuff to the Wild. They might have let them have it because it's in kind for the city and all that kind of thing.
That would have been cool, though, right?
It would be cool. Yeah. I'm sure the Wild maybe they'll incorporate that
into
their
a third jersey with that
because again it's about the fans, right?
Right. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
No, I haven't seen them, but I'll have to
right. Lou Nanny, remember Lou Nanny?
Exactly, with that big end and the star.
Yeah,
I can still
Bill
remember.
Goldsworthy.
I can still remember.
Caesar Maniago.
Oh man.
Huh? The Gumper played there for a while.
I remember driving back. I was going to college in Rolla, and driving back in '81 when the Stars played the Blues, and that would have been. I think that was that was
the Willie Plett slap shot from behind the red line, beating Mike Liute, I believe.
Yep, and
another heartbreaker for the St. Louis Blues,
stabbing me in the heart on the way to school.
Oh, that was brutal.
I just didn't know whether to drive off the road. Or
were you walking?
Going.
Oh, you were driving.
I was driving.
Okay,
school,
yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah,
remember that?
It was pretty cool memories.
Yeah.
So what do we got this week, Joe? What do you think? What annoys you?
Well, locally, just had a big trade last night. Mr. Fabry for Mr. De La Rose.
I'm going to deal break this. It didn't surprise me. I mean, Fabry is the guy that I think was going to go all this time anyway.
Yeah, and I from one
nothing against him.
From what I understand,
right?
He and Craig Berube were not seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
And actually, Fabry asked for a trade last year.
Right.
And it's taken this long to get it done.
Figure out. So, what do you think? We know his history. What about the guy they got for him?
He's your prototype big boy, NHL big boy, 6'3", 2 whatever, right? That's kind of the thing. He's going to be a middle of the lineup forward guy, He's not a top three.
Well, I saw his numbers, and he's pretty much interchangeable with Fabry.
Yeah.
If he's more durable, then that makes him better right away, right?
Right off the right. Sure.
Fabry's a good player, but he just was never been.
Yeah.
And that team now they're big and heavy. I know you hate to hear that, but they are.
No, they are. They are. But they got speed too. They're
yeah. But they're you got to get hit in this day and age. You got a lot of 6'2", 6'4" defensemen out there that are gonna.
On a nice surface, it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller because the players keep getting bigger and bigger.
And you get banged around. It's just a reality. And Fabry's talented, but I don't know that he is the guy that's going to last.
He's durable. He's not durable.
Right.
We know that.
So I think the trade was really. I think the Blues got the best of it only because.
Yeah. But I think it's a good opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though he went from best best to worst.
Right.
I mean, man,
he went from worst.
He went from
to best
sipping champagne to milkshakes.
Yeah, but he was down in the dumps here, and then he went to best, and then back again.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so that's the team I've been watching a lot of games this past week, and so at the beginning of the season, if you had to ask me my dark horse team I thought would make the biggest strides of the year, I would have told you the Detroit Red Wings.
Right, with bringing Steve Yzerman on
well,
board.
Yzerman, and they have talented guys, right? And then, but I'll tell you what, they have been,
I disagree. I think, Steve Yzerman, king of the Red Wings, right?
Sure.
Goes home, longtime captain, all that. Earned his bones down in Tampa Bay, but man, he's got his work cut out for him. I mean, he really does. I mean, it's rebuild city. Ever since Babcock left,
right?
That just kind of steady decline from there.
Well,
from greatness.
Talking and the Blues. I guess all teams run through this.
They do.
The Red Wings had an embarrassment of riches, right? But in the last year or so, they've lost Datsuk, Zetterberg. I mean, these are and a handful of others, basically like linchpins. That would be like Chicago losing Tays, Kane, and Duncan Keith.
Yeah.
In this, and that's hard. How do you plan for that? In this league,
but I don't
right?
even know if Datsuk could really be a difference maker. But
not anymore.
Not anymore. But
but I'm saying that's the person they don't have. That they had that talent.
Datsuk, he's apparently tearing it up in the Russian league.
Well,
right
apparently, if you're Russian, you just go back.
Yeah, just go back. You
can either buy your own team, in which case you do
keep
really
playing.
well.
Yeah.
Or
Like
Datsuk,
Yager.
yeah, right. Yager's owner, coach, operator,
why not?
leading
Mario
scorer.
Lemieux. He learned from his buddy. But Datsuk, he's tearing it up over there. Yeah.
I think it's interesting to me, and I brought it up only because, to me, Detroit is old school NHL. Right? They were NHL royalty. I know they haven't been on top for 5 years, maybe
Original
5, 6
six
years.
team, lots of history, pride.
Had a string of Stanley Cups that they won, right? They were an absolute dominant team. They had players that are legends, and they kept them all, right? They were the last, I think, one of the last teams to really keep those big time players all there, right?
Yeah.
And now they are empty.
Yeah.
And it's a telltale sign. That's the homework for the rest of the league.
Well, and it's kind of like,
how do you get there?
It's kind of like what we talked about last week with the Blackhawks,
right?
You hold on to these guys, you hold on, and the Blackhawks aren't even there yet, right? They're not even their guys aren't even on the back nine of their career yet,
right?
But again, the wear and tear and the longevity of the regular season and the grind of the second season into the Stanley Cup and World Cups in the summertime and all that kind of thing. Yeah, same type of thing. What you bring up with Detroit, no question.
I think the league is going to interchangeable pieces. The better teams, or the teams that have longevity and are doing better, are going to be the ones that, hey, one guy goes down, next one up,
and can adjust and have depth. Yeah, and the Blackhawks were good at that, right?
Right.
They'd have to get rid of a guy due to a cap situation. And what do? They bring in a guy.
Right.
They bring him up and in, and
next
he just,
one up.
Yeah, it's like fits right in.
But
that's,
so I was just thinking about Detroit only because of that. Their status, and they're one of those teams that old school, and here we are now, right?
Right. Yep. So Fabry finds a new home.
Yeah.
And do you think it's any accident that he was sent to Siberia, so to speak? Because apparently there was a little rub with him and Berube. They weren't seeing eye to eye, and
I am.
It's kind of like the Blues when they sent Pronger to Edmonton, right? It's like, you know what, go, we'll send you up there. Work on your tan up there, right?
I'm kind of digging that you got a king now in St. Louis, right? You don't get along with the king.
Absolutely.
and it ain't Hull, and it's not
absolutely
Steen, or it's not a player. It's a coach. It's Berube.
Let's just go back to let's just say the last 8 coaches of the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Did a player ever get shipped out because I can only think of one in the last 7 coaches has anyone ever been shipped out
But
because
that was
the coach says so.
Well, okay, yeah,
It was Hitchcock and Oshie.
yeah,
When Oshie came out in the paper and
yeah,
said some things about Hitch,
right,
he was gone.
yeah. Which
He was the only one. And that
turned
was
out to be true, by the way. But that's okay.
It was the only isolated time that that's ever happened where a coach had some cachet and was able to say, "Hey, I want this guy gone." But now you got Berube, and he's, and you read the article and Armstrong speaking highly of Fabry and all that kind of thing. I'm still a fan and all that kind of thing. But I think when Craig Berube says a guy's got to go, he's got to go.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
Which proves my theory. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe it is my thought that Craig Berube has general manager status. I believe that.
As it stands right now.
I don't think, because the telltale sign was they never said what his salary is.
Right. And
they never gave him a title when they signed him in the new deal. They always tell you how much money they're making and this, that, and everything. And
so you think that was a joke when they kept saying, "Oh, his new title is still interim head coach"?
Right. Yeah. Just could have been.
Yeah.
Just to sort of kind of move away from all that. Just ha, a funny thing.
I don't know if he is, but I'm.
I don't know
okay
that
he is though. How about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and he should be. I mean, he won a Stanley Cup. He should have some say.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of guy who he's going to have some say, you know what I mean? So it would not surprise me if it has to be, he has to okay it, or if he wants to get rid of a guy or bring a guy in, he's got that ability to do that.
I am totally cool with that.
Not saying I know that for a fact, just my personal assessment.
All right, well. I think there's clues out there that lend themselves to your assessment being correct.
Right. Yeah. Read between the lines, folks. Read between the lines.
Yeah. There's not nobody ever. You don't hear anything about Berube unless Berube wants you to hear something.
Right. Well, that's professional sports in St. Louis. Period. Right.
Yeah, but.
Come on, these media guys, they take dictation, right? They write what the Blues.
No, I'm talking about inside the organization. If people didn't
too.
like you and they want to take you down in that group,
that's why everybody gets a Stanley Cup ring.
Right. Let's not start. We did a whole show on that.
Yeah. Let's just move on from that. All right.
I don't know that he is, but I'm okay.
I don't know that he is either, but I have a feeling he is.
Yeah, I believe you.
I think there's something to that.
Other things like he dictates where players go or where they go in his lineup, which some other coaches weren't able to do in the past. Yeah.
Okay, Evander Kane gets sued by the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas for $500,000.
So many things
on a gambling marker, right?
So many things.
Wasn't this what? I mean, I don't know about you, but when they announced that Vegas was going to get a team, I thought, "Wow, is this going to be a PR nightmare for the NHL?"
Yeah,
right?
Any team. NHL happened to be that team, right?
Yeah, right.
First professional
team.
Yeah.
You're bringing young professional athletes with a lot of dough to Vegas, really?
Yeah.
And apparently they stayed on the Strip. Are you nuts? Or did maybe he snuck out the window and jumped in a cab and they took him to the Cosmopolitan?
If you started your team and it's called the Vegas Knights, what would be your number one job with your players? What would be the number one thing? I know what mine would be, and that's, hey, casinos are off limits.
Stay off the
Strip.
Strip.
The Strip is off limits. You're not going to go there, and now we're going to have weekly meetings to reinforce that. And if you're found there,
Gamblers Anonymous.
Well, that's happening, right?
Well, they probably write it in their contracts,
right? Some of these kids come from the backwoods. They're making $10 million a year now. They're in Vegas.
Now they're playing in America's playground.
Right?
Right? This is crazy.
This was why this didn't happen last year.
This is the kind of stuff I thought about. I thought, you know what? This is going to be a gong show.
Yeah. I mean, he's just the tip of the iceberg, I'll bet.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't you have a rule, though, like when you're and this happened in the playoffs, in the first round of the playoffs when they played the Knights. So don't you kind of, when you schedule your games in Vegas, you say, okay, you fly in and fly out.
Yeah.
There's no overnights.
Yeah, that's a management
You fly
thing.
in, you play the game, you get the boys back on the bus, hit the airport, hit McCarran, and head on home.
I don't want to hear,
right?
oh, they're grown men. They know it.
No, they're not grown
own
men.
You own that team. It's your responsibility to make sure that your goods are going in there and your goods are coming back.
I don't care. I don't care if you got guards at every elevator on the floor they're staying on. They're going to find a way out of that hotel.
Yeah. You think Berube would have made arrangements to make sure that they
well, they wouldn't be staying on the strip.
That's
crazy. But that doesn't mean they were. I mean, it was at the Cosmopolitan, but he may have snuck out of the hotel.
And that's really another thing that bothered me.
Jumped in a cab and went to the Cosmopolitan.
So a grown man is at the Cosmopolitan. That's a chick casino.
Yeah, that's a young. Well, he's a young guy.
I know, that's why he's there.
Jay, these are young guys.
That's a good point.
Know what I mean?
That's exactly where he should be now that I think about
Let's see. They're young guys. They got a lot of money. They got a lot of time on their hands.
Good-looking guys.
And there's chicks everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and you go to the chick casino.
Boom. No, that's why I said it's a fly-in, fly-out deal, right?
Yeah.
Let's not stay over in
fact,
Vegas. Let's not have an overnight in Vegas.
I'd make that airplane so nice you wouldn't get out until
right.
Just go right to the game and go home.
Anyway.
My God. And especially when you see the history of what.
And I'm surprised we haven't read more about that kind of stuff out there.
I wonder how much of it has been swept under. Only because.
Oh yeah.
I bet the Knights have some. I mean, how could they not? I would hope that.
Well, the Blues went out there and had a little party.
Yeah. But that was after they won.
After they won, but still, you don't want your guys getting in trouble. It's just not throwing a cup in the pool and all that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Hey, whatever, it happens.
But I mean, if you're out there partying, it's one thing.
Right.
If you're out there playing a game.
Yeah, you're right.
And a playoff game.
It's still a PR thing. Whether you're when you're you represent your team all year round, whether you're playing or not.
Yeah.
But during a playoff series, really?
That's a management thing, man. I'm sorry. I know they are the players. They're adults. They're responsible for themselves, but that's a management thing. You got to.
Yeah.
And if it did happen, you better be in there.
Especially San Jose. They're a hop, skip, and a jump from Vegas. They're right there.
You should have
It's a 30-minute flight.
Everything you have in your quiver, in your arsenal, you bring out to make this thing go away. We should never be reading the sentence of Vander Kane.
Yeah, the travel secretary should be fired over this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, what's next?
Poor Vander Kane.
Yeah. Oh man.
Who's hot and who's not?
You want to go first?
Who's
hot?
We talked about who's not, and I mean they're one of the teams. I'll tie it into something else. The statistics I saw today. So who's hot? Who's not? Obviously, we have Detroit's not hot. LA's struggling.
Well, Detroit's not supposed to be hot.
Okay, but they are beyond not hot. They've lost 13 games.
What about your San Jose Sharks?
The Sharks Yeah, they're my San Jose Sharks.
You're the big fan. You're their number one fan.
Are you kidding me?
Aren't you?
No, I'm the first one who said, how can you keep telling me this team's going to be good?
I'm sorry.
When everybody's old. And now everybody's going, they're tired. They're
I stand
older.
corrected.
Well, they're getting some pieces back, and we'll see. They're in a tough division. I watched the Blues play Edmonton last night. That I can't imagine you're in out there and you played Edmonton. You play Calgary, who is not back down to anybody. And man, you better come with everything, and they do not. They're not. They're just not.
Especially with the the veterans on that team, with the addition of Carlson, last year. I mean, Burns. I mean, they got quite the lineup there, and it's just not.
But they're all. I mean, no offense, but they're all older guys.
Yeah.
I'm an older guy.
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
LA's not hot, and so one of the statistics was interestingly enough, the two teams in the NHL, number 30 and 31 in number of shots per game.
Mm-hmm.
Number 30 is St. Louis Blues. Number 31 is the Islanders. Shots per game, yes.
You getting shots or allowing?
No, getting shots.
Getting shots on net. Okay.
Okay. Number 1 shots per game, LA.
And they can't win.
So what's that tell you?
Goaltending.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that tell you?
What's that tell you about the St. Louis Blues? And their GM telling everybody that Binnington's just been okay. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Don't get me started.
But your shot, so you have players that your shot accuracy is, your production is that's the more telling sign of success than actually the quantity.
Well, yeah,
right?
it says a couple of things. You're playing more in their end of the ice,
Right.
You're getting quality chances, and
Yeah. So,
I
but yeah, so there you go.
guy back there, I guess. Your guy quick.
Yeah. Man, I watched him the other night. I really feel bad for him.
What a fall from grace.
Right?
Yeah, it's a shame.
So, so Detroit we know. LA, we kind of figured they wouldn't be. We knew they were going to struggle.
Yeah,
they
the
weren't
Hawks.
going to be a
The Blackhawks.
Do you think the Hawks can turn it around? We know Detroit can't. We know LA's not going to. They just don't have the.
Are the Hawks going to turn it around this year?
Yeah. Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
I don't think so. I think there's, we talked about it last week. I think there's just a lot of turmoil there. You got, Brent Seabrook spouting off in the media about how, letting on that he probably liked to be traded, and he's one of the four.
It's amazing how winning
four Musketeers
lets everybody get along, and losing.
Oh boy,
brings the truth out.
Isn't that the truth, man? Let the finger pointing begin.
So I would have said, if we talked about this 3 days ago, I would have said Dallas, but they seem to have. They're one of those teams. They have been losing games, but not because they're not good.
Yeah.
It's just been a goal here, a bounce there.
Yeah, a bouncer, yeah.
And things are going to go their way. So I would have to say they're probably not. They're not hot, but I don't think you count them out by any stretch.
No. Monty did a great job with them last year. And,
right.
It's early, right?
So. Ottawa. They're not.
Yeah,
that
they're
good.
at the bottom. Of the barrel
I'll go
too.
right for the jugular. Tampa Bay would be my most disappointing team so far.
Yeah, was talking to a friend of mine about that today at our morning skate. There's some problems there, man. They were the President Cup champions last year, out in the first round, and it looks like they're picking up right where they left off.
Every piece that they had last year is there.
Yeah.
Plus they added one.
Yeah.
And
again, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for John Cooper to move on. I don't know. You got to get somebody in there who can get these guys to play together as a unit. And
so you look at them and you look at Dallas, right? So Dallas, we said, hey, they're losing games, but it's not because they're a bad team. It's just the bounces, and they are getting production from other players. Things are going their way, or they will start turning the tide.
Right.
I say everything. Tampa Bay has the same situation, only they're losing because they're losing. They're not playing well.
Right.
They're quitting. That's the biggest thing I've seen. They quit.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So that would be my number one not hot team.
Yeah.
You have anyone that?
I think we
covered them all. What about the hottest?
You threw the blanket over them. Who's hot?
Yeah.
For me, New York Islanders. 11-0.
There you go.
11-0. 11-game winning streak.
They're going. No, it's up to tonight. They're going for their 13th.
Oh, 13 now. Okay. Yeah. Excuse me.
So
they're hot. They're still hot.
Do you think they're hot because they're good?
Yeah, they're a good young team.
Yeah.
The Barzal, and they got some good pieces there, and away they go. They're in that Eastern Conference, which is. Everybody talks about how great the Western Conference was, but I don't think that's the case anymore. Wow, has that kind of... you look at the power ranking, and it's all
I'm with you. So
Eastern Conference teams.
We're talking about who's not hot. If you look at the Western Conference, and who's going to make the playoffs, you got the Blues, you have Edmonton, and let's say Calgary.
Yeah.
All right. After that, let's say Dallas. After that...
and the blue, you know what? And the Blues are hot too.
Yeah, the Blues are hot.
I hate to. We don't.
No, you're.
Bring up
It's fine because I'm going to bring up my team.
Yeah, it's Scotty Mayfield, St. Louis kid, defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, big kid, 6'3", whatever, 2 whatever, and man, he just
how about him?
really coming into his own. Yeah, he really is, and he's a good kid.
Yeah.
I've met him several times, and he's did some events for me.
Yeah, he was at your event last year, the summer.
Just a kind individual, great kid. Yeah. So I'm happy for him and getting some success there. A lot of playing time and
my hot team.
Yeah.
Washington Capitals.
Oh well.
Shocker. I know. No, I know, but Shocker. You can't argue it. They are playing.
Yeah.
Really good hockey.
Talked about it last week. They're They're hungry. They want that.
Yeah.
They want that cup back.
And I'll say equally as impressive to me right now, hot, would be Montreal. I would not, anybody out there, I don't want to play Montreal.
They're my favorite team.
Right now or just in general? Always. But I'm saying this team this year is a dangerous team.
Yeah. I love the Canadians. Yeah. They're just all that history and everything. But yeah, they're starting to turn it around over there and get her going. And
at the end,
playing really, really well. And you know, maybe they can add to their grand total.
I would love to see them competitive, and they are,
right.
Nobody
and
wants
they
to
should
go,
be.
Nobody wants to go in and play them, right?
They should be. They got the greatest hockey fans around, and you know, and it's just hockey mecca up there.
It's interesting though. You and I have been talking. You know, who's not a hot team? Who's a hot team? We keep going back and forth. There's one name we haven't brought up at all. Who? Toronto. Why don't we say anything about Toronto?
Because they're, you know, it's like there's all this expectation for them to really get it going, but they just.
Do you think
they're just kind of humming along, right?
Do you think they're more disappointing than Tampa at this point?
No, they weren't picked to win the Stanley Cup last year.
I know,
and picked again this year.
But but Toronto has had some mighty, the lofty expectations.
Well, locally,
yeah.
I mean, because. You know, Toronto and other like Montreal, right? It's high. There's always high expectations. I mean, you know, so
yeah,
they got these young kids and they need to start. They want to start seeing them pan out.
Yeah,
you know. So
there's a lot of other teams out there, but
yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to say Montreal and the Capitals are very impressive so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's others. We're not disparaging any other team. It's just if you look right now at the spotlight.
Yeah,
the Islanders have a 13-game winning streak.
Yeah,
and they are. Yeah, they're
the hottest.
Lou Lamoriello, he knows.
No, he's tough. Huh?
He knows how to build a team, man.
That's Cam Jansen's buddy.
He is he?
Oh yeah, they were thick as thieves up there in New Jersey. Kept Cam around for a long time. St. Louis boy, another St. Louis product, right?
So he's the guy that stole Scott Stevens from.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Paid off a judge.
Whatever he did.
Well, he is Italian.
Hey, now see,
he's one of the Hitmen, right? He's welcome on this show anytime.
Right here, I'll get that. I'll get a third mic in here for Lou.
Anytime you want, big boy.
Anytime.
Come on down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, that guy's he's a manager, right? He is he's a manager.
Wow. Yeah, he
knows how to run.
He's legendary.
Yeah.
All those great New Jersey Devil teams and
yeah. They are legends. Again, I saw Leonard play. Did I tell you that?
You like watching that kid.
I'm telling you, he was. I know Chicago's had their struggles, but it ain't because of goaltending. That kid is. He is the real deal, man. He is. Mm-hmm. When you sit on the back of that team and make saves and have success like he's having. Yeah. Too bad it's not panning out, but
right, yeah.
So what do you think about this 3-on-3?
3-on-3,
like the overtime.
In overtime?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it last
week. What's happened the last week? It's kind of.
What about? Wait a minute. What about the 3-on-3? Going back to the St. Louis Blues. Sorry. Have you ever seen a 3-on-0?
No.
Let me tell you. I've watched a million hockey games. Right? I've never seen a 3-on-0.
Yeah.
That was weird. I think they were even freaking out there. They were kind of like, what do we do?
Exactly. You know, that only those professionals could have handled it. Yeah, right. Everybody else would have been like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Do I pass it once? Do I pass it twice? No, each one of them touched the puck.
Yeah.
And then if, he doesn't score,
Yeah. Who was that? Petrangelo, he kind of gave him that little stutter with the stick, and he gave it to him, and it was beautiful. But I've never seen a 3-on-0.
And did you see the comedy of errors that made it happen?
Oh man! Well,
it was like bowling. It was like bowling pins back there.
I know Smith saw it. He was pissed. Man, was he mad!
But really, do you think that was a mistake on their part? It was just unfortunate. They tripped and they fell.
They got caught in a transition, and
it just
the three guys. There's a lot of ice to cover. You.
But they've picked up the pace. So the 3-on-3 I've been watching now, they actually are playing. They're not just sitting back and trying to get, take it to a shootout.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
It was more fun to watch when it first started, when there wasn't a whole lot of strategy to it. It was just run and gun. It was just fun to watch for the fans. It was just it was just like going. But now the coaches have kind of seen it long enough now where they've got there's a playbook for it.
And
now,
they were all dropping back into the just play not to lose.
Well, there's all this kick it back to the D man and clear the zone, and let's go back in as a group type thing, and that's kind of what you see now with it.
But I like the 3 people the Blues are putting out there. I mean, they're doing all right.
Yeah, who was it? Petrangelo, Schwartz, and
Steen. Not Steen. It was Shen, wasn't it?
Shen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good combo.
Oh, Steen got hurt last night too. I don't know if you saw that. We'll see what happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
What's next?
Well, Patrick Marleau.
How about Patrick Marleau? 800 straight games in the NHL.
How's that for being durable?
Sort of an Iron Man. There's a durable guy.
And not just in peewee hockey. The guy's he's played at championship level.
Yeah.
800 games.
He's got a ways to go to get the record.
Yeah. Who's that?
Jarvis. I think it's oh gosh. 9 I want to say 964 or something like that.
Yeah. But in this day and age, 800 games.
That's a lot, yeah.
That is pretty good. Did you see Chara played in his 1500?
That's right. Got a hell of a standing ovation in, I believe it was Montreal, wasn't it?
I think that's where it was, yeah.
Well, that's, the hockey
They
Mecca.
Appreciate it.
They appreciate that kind of thing, which is cool.
1,500 games, that's an achievement. I don't care who you are. And again, playing at a championship level, not just, he's got a Stanley Cup to his name somewhere.
Well,
he's also lost 2, but that's
we sort of had a bottom of the barrel matchup this last week: the Sharks and the Blackhawks.
Yeah. Who didn't want to lose?
Yeah.
The Western Conference. Even watching Edmonton last night, I was a bit. They looked good, but it just they lack a. There's not that killer.
Well, I think they sat back and learned something from the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, and they thought, okay, this is how it is.
This is how you do it, exactly.
Because they were on a bit of they had lost a game, I think, the night before, or not, a couple nights before, whatever.
They were rested, so they were
and they were even rested, right? The Blues had come in, but I think they would even tell you that, hey, wow, is this what it's how we, they got a lot of young kids, they're still learning,
right?
And that was a playoff hockey game, and they saw, wow, it was a bit of an eye opener for them. But that's how teams mature and get some wind under their wings and learn and get better. So, what are you going to do?
Any games that interest you tonight? I think there's a lot. I don't know.
Today's Thursday. Yeah, probably a lot of games on the docket. Yeah.
So some
there's a lot of games.
A little bit of statistics on Taze.
Yeah.
There is talk.
Not good.
There is talk that he is, like you had said, worn out, and that he's lost a step. And worse than that, there's talk that he's lost a step with his stick handling, not just his speed.
A step?
Well, his ability to stick
handle the puck?
Yes, has gone down.
Is he got a hurt wrist?
I don't know. That's what the question is.
I have not heard that.
That he is not.
Maybe he's just burnt out. How about that?
He's just tired. I agree. I mean, how can you not?
How about that? Toss that in there.
So what do you do?
How much I love to play hockey, right? I don't think I could play any. I don't know that I, love the game that much to play that much. But, maybe if I had Jonathan Taves' salary, I could find the passion.
No, but,
it's just, again, we've talked about this. The Kings, the Hawks.
Right.
San Jose, even though they haven't won, these are teams with guys with a lot of miles on them. San Jose with some guys a bit older, obviously, but the Hawks and the Kings are kind of like right there in that basket where they've got relatively young guys that are just kind of beat up, I think, and they're worn out.
I think he has 3 goals so far this
Yeah,
season.
I mean, like I said, he's virtually been invisible, and he's the captain of that team.
Right.
I mean, maybe he's burnt out. I mean, I just said that, but I don't know. I mean, it happens.
Right. Well, we'll see. Good luck to him. I mean, obviously, he's a...
I don't know how you lose a step in your hands, though. That's a good
Well, not
one.
a step, but that he's just slower, stick handling.
He can't.
You know? I mean, he's not Connor McDavid in it. You know? Are you tired? Are you losing something? Is there a nagging injury? Are your parts worn out? I mean, what is it?
If you're having trouble stick handling, it's got to be an injury of some sort.
But you get slower as you get older. I mean, he's not that. I know he's not that
they're
old.
not that old. These
guys,
guys.
but he's still played enough games to be.
You think he's just wearing out parts?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
I, honest to God, think he's wearing out.
It speaks to what I said. Really, I mean, that's what it is. It's wear and tear, right?
Yeah. I don't that's
know.
my thing. That's.
Yeah, but it's like he's not even out there.
Yeah.
You know, we touched on that last week. I mean, it's Captain Serious. He better get a little more serious.
I mean, in his prime, you couldn't knock that guy off the puck. He took over games, right?
Yeah, he's just an exceptional player. He really was. Yeah. So
hopefully he gets
good luck to him. Hope he gets it back.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's,
right.
You know, you never hear anything bad about him. He's been a great leader, but again, you know, it's a little bit easier to be a leader when you're rattling off Stanley Cups, you know. But
right? Everybody gets along.
Now it's a different deal. Yeah, there's some. It's a different locker room in Chicago right now.
Yeah. Well, here I'll throw some names at you. You say what you think. Penguins Islanders. Want to watch that game?
Great matchup.
Right.
Yeah. We just talked about how hot they are. We'll see what they do.
Because the Penguins are a team that
in New York.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they're playing in Brooklyn.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So
Barclays.
The Penguins are a team that, man, you talk about next man up. That team, right?
Yeah. Malkin's back, though, now, right?
Yeah, but who's out tonight? Somebody else is out tonight. I can't remember who it was.
Well, there's always somebody out.
But so Capitals, Panthers. We'll see. Rangers and Hurricanes. We didn't talk about the Rangers, but
the Hurricanes are there's a team. There's an emerging team there. They showed us something in the playoffs last year, right?
Sure did.
I mean,
absolutely.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
You bring up the Hurricanes. What do you think? What do you think about their post game these celebrations they come up with after the game?
150% behind it.
Me too.
I have no problem with it.
I'm with you. I think it's awesome.
They're not hurting anybody. They're enjoying themselves.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's a spirit. You know, it's a younger NHL. Good for them.
I think with it being a cookie cutter NHL as it is, and it is, it's pretty crazy how cookie cutter it is. All the buildings look the same. All the players have, the uniforms have to look the same. You got to have, there's all these, mandatory things that you have to do. Yeah, it's homogenized. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And the New York Rangers started doing a thing several years back where when they would win a home game, they'd all skate to center ice and salute the fans, right? Raise their sticks and salute the fans. Well, then guess what? The next year, all the teams started doing it, right?
Yeah.
Every time a team scores a goal, they all got to skate by the bench and do the high school high five. I mean, it's almost like it's this mandatory things, the rituals that they all have to do.
Right.
That the NHL sees one team doing it. It's like, oh, we want everybody to do that.
Yeah. It looks fun. Let's
have why not have everyone salute the fans?
Yeah.
No, let's not.
Right.
Let's let the New York Rangers have their thing.
Exactly.
And so we know that's special to the New York Rangers.
Right.
And let it go. I mean, that's one thing the NHL does that I do not. That's a pet peeve of mine.
That really we talked about not having hockey Thursday nights and Saturday nights, and you have hockey night and build momentum, right?
Oh God, build it up. Just like they do in football, right? But yeah, getting back to the Hurricanes.
So
good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
I'm perfectly cool with that.
They do some whatever. They come up with some crazy skit. The other team's off the ice. Yeah. Who cares?
They're playing to their fans, right?
To their fans. it's something unique that they do in Carolina for their fans.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
I mean, there was some talk last year the NHL was going to make them stop doing it.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, because they want
silly.
everybody to do the same. They want them to go to the center. You know why? Because they want them to go to center ice and do the salute.
Right.
The NHL salute.
And what's his face? Don Cherry was all insulted. Like, Don, your suits insult me. So, this is not, it's not hockey behavior. I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys pound the living daylights out of each other.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me.
Talk about behavior.
You're talking about, exactly.
Boy, is fighting gone away, huh? When's the last fight you've seen? I don't think I've seen one fight this year.
What do you call a fight? What do you call a fight anymore,
I've always
right?
known it was going to go away. I mean, you could tell. You could see that they were going to make it go away.
Well,
it was going away already, kind of on its own, but the league was giving it pushes here and there to kind of let's get this out of the game.
I don't like it that it's going away.
It doesn't bother me.
I don't like it
bother me.
because then you get the teams aren't built around having at least one guy to defend, your weaker or smaller teammates, and some of these teams take advantage of that and take runs at people. And you're seeing more and more these stars that are out for, extended periods of time.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you know any stars in the league right now that have bodyguards like
No, they don't.
Wayne Gretzky did?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Well, nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's getting knocked out of the game because they're getting run. Nobody's getting run. Look, these guys make a lot of money.
I know they do.
It's an unwritten rule. They're like, hey, boys, trust me, there's an unwritten rule. Hey, we're making a lot of money out here. Let's just play and not try to kill each other.
Not screw it up.
I know you want to keep playing as long as you do,
right.
And I know I do. So
they don't
just have an unwritten agreement here that
so they're going to just do it. You think everything's cool? I mean, everybody's
absolutely.
Fine.
Yeah, I just don't. The only thing I worry about with is it's gonna elevate to maybe some sort of high stick, stick swinging type stuff.
Well, what is that? That's the same.
That's what I'm worried. That's the only thing. Now I haven't seen it, but that's what because it is an emotional game, right?
Yeah.
You've got a suit of armor on now. You've got a helmet. You've got a visor. Guys are the only guys that can now. The only guys that used to be you could wear a helmet if you were not wear a helmet if you were grandfathered in.
Right.
Now you're grandfathered in to not be able to have to wear a visor. Now players, if you come into the league after a certain year, I don't know what it is, you have to wear a visor. So who wants to punch plastic?
Right.
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 Unless the guys just keep their gloves on and
do it that way.
There's no more dropping the gloves and they just fight with their mitts on. Yeah, I don't know, but it's going away. The league wants it to go away, and it's made the game faster and more entertaining, I think.
Predators Avalanche.
Oh yeah, the Avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think?
Oh yeah, come on.
I don't know, man. I think they came out of the gate. They came out of the gate fast, and they seem to be.
You become a Pecorine fan now?
No, well, I mean, if Pecorine plays Pecorine, then you're not beating him. We talked about that.
Right.
You're not going to beat the Predators, but if he's not Pecorine, you're not.
Avs have cooled off a little bit, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not saying they're a bad team. They're just they are not.
Where are they playing?
Where are they playing? Let me find out. Good question.
I'm still going with the Avs, home or away.
They're at Nashville.
Avs.
So
see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's some of the bigger games that are going on. How about that? Would you want to buy a ticket to this game? Kings Senators.
Let me tell you something. I wouldn't pick a game, buy a ticket to any game anymore. No, too expensive.
Just watch it on TV.
It's crazy. Yeah, watch it on TV. You kidding me? I got 2 words for you. High def. Okay?
Yeah, I love watching on TV.
Right.
You're not going to see what you see on TV.
Why do you want to go to the games now anymore and deal and pay parking, getting in and out of the building, going through security, $13 beers.
So do you think teams care? they still want you to go to the game, right?
Sure they do. That's how they make their money. They're not like other sports. The
Right.
TV revenue is not like baseball, football, basketball.
Right.
It's just not. These teams make money off the gate.
Yeah.
That's where they got to get it.
So they got to draw people in.
They got to draw
have
people in.
there.
I would, and they do. I mean, the Blues here in St. Louis do, and I think for the most part, attendance is pretty good around the league. And until they start feeling or hurt financially, ticket prices are going to stay where they're at. Now, look, they're not relying on you and me anymore, like the old building days, right? When families bought season tickets to go to, Chicago Stadium or the Forum in Montreal or whatever. Well, those tickets were still great. You had to be on a waiting list back then. But I'm talking about other markets and whatnot. But they're going after the corporate money, companies, businesses. They're the ones buying the season tickets and the suites for entertainment purposes, and they know that, and they've purposely priced it for them to afford and us not to be able to afford it, and that's unfortunate.
Well, that's what I'm imagining. I know I love watching it on TV. I enjoy it. I the angles you get, the replays, the whole thing. I really like it a lot. But I said to myself, what if I watch the same game in an empty arena? Because nobody wants to go, but they're still going to play the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
that doesn't look good.
No, that wouldn't be cool. I don't think that would be.
Well, I've even heard teams when they've had problems like that.
Yeah.
The ushers have literally gone. They've basically flushed everyone from the top bowls all the way down into the lower bowl, so the camera shot shows a full stands. Yeah. Oh yeah. So.
That's something
you don't know until it becomes it hits them in the pocketbook, so to speak, the revenue. The ticket prices aren't going to go down.
So what do you think of the NHL financially? You think they're in a good spot?
I think they're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're doing great. Yeah.
Somebody was telling me
problem.
So I was, they were talking about
they're expanding. They're going into Seattle. I mean,
so speaking of that, right? So you get a lot of these teams and the values of teams, and they were talking about MLS teams, soccer teams, in the past year, 30% increase
in value.
Now you say, what makes them valuable? Same with the hockey franchise. What makes them so valuable? Whether they're in Ottawa or whether they're in L.A. or Vancouver, whatever. It's the fact that they said there's more millionaires and billionaires every day. And these people have money.
Right.
Where do they want to put their money? And a lot of these guys are women, are people who they became billionaires overnight.
Mm-hmm.
They're regular people. They come from San Jose. They come from Dallas. They come from, wherever. And they buy teams. And therefore, the value of that team goes up because you only have so many teams. And the NHL then becomes a very coveted market because there's only so many teams in here. And they're an established league. And the value, so what I'm getting at is the value of these teams is definitely on the way up. And
I hope so.
Well, in a good not just 10% a year. These are in the next few years, 30%, 20%. That's pretty good.
Right.
It's good. It's good for them. I guess.
In other sports, it's all about television. I mean, it's about television in Canada for the NHL, probably, but here in the States, I mean, I think for across the board, it's more about ticket sales. It's the gate and concessions and jersey, memorabilia, all that kind of stuff, jerseys and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but
so
I don't know. I don't know.
So I should call my cousins in Detroit and tell them that Fabri's on his way up. Maybe
I'm sure they know.
That's sure maybe if he needs help, they could tell him someplace to
go to eat. Restaurant recommendation. Yeah, take him out.
Italian food. They could
hook
him up something.
Oh, so he's a fellow hitman.
I know.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh man, I'll tell you.
What about De La Rose?
Yeah. Is he
He's from
Italian?
Switzerland, but he's got an Italian name.
Well, he's Italian.
He's Italian.
You know, the
He
northern
probably
Italy
came from
is
Lake.
part of it.
He probably skated on the frozen lakes of Lake Como and Lake
Exactly.
Garda.
Exactly.
Lago di Como, Lago di Garda.
He just happened
Right.
to, when he fell on the ice, he fell on the other side of
I
the
don't know.
border.
His-
That was
his-
it. And so
his-
he ended up
his-
being Swiss instead of Italian.
His father got a job over in Switzerland. Who knows? They moved the family. Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't know. He's Italian though. Come on.
Good for, well, we couldn't upset the balance on the team,
No.
you know. So
No.
if you're gonna get rid of one Italian, you got to bring in another one. That's how
Right.
it works, so.
Yeah.
Berube, he likes that. He
Yeah.
knows.
He's American Indian.
Right. No, I'm saying he likes Italians. I'm not saying
Oh,
he
he
is
likes
Italian.
Italian food. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to question
Comes
him
comes
sometime.
here to our lovely neighborhood to eat once in a while, from
Yeah?
what I understand. Oh yeah.
He never call. He should call us.
Yeah, he should.
You think he will? No.
No. Well,
Hey, we were nice to him.
if he does,
we're like
I'll give you a call.
we're like thank you. We're like Berube fanboys, basically. You know,
Well,
I mean, we do nothing.
he's
but,
a no bullshit
but
guy.
Pump him up.
He's a no bullshit guy. That's what I like about him. I mean, I listen. We keep going back to the St. Louis Blues, but they are the Stanley Cup champions. But
Yeah.
you know, I call the guy. He was the Messiah.
Yeah.
That man came here in the middle of the season and totally changed the culture of that franchise.
Right. Without
They
adding
were
a single body.
a mediocre at best hockey team for 50 years.
Yeah.
Across the board. They never really achieved anything. It was just kind of
He instilled a culture and a passion and an
he
identity.
he put an end to the you know the wedding of the beak, so to speak. Capiche?
A capito.
Capito. Yeah, we are the Hitmen.
That's right.
But
yeah.
yeah, right. I mean, he did. I mean, and now he's. I really do. And I'm going to circle back to it earlier in the show. I firmly believe he's got GM status.
Let me take
I
that.
do.
Let me take that further for you. So, and this because we can talk about the Blues in particular and Berube, but this can be expanded to any team. So let's say he is this, you know, the de facto GM, and he's the coach. Can he do both well?
Well, he's the guy that is closest to his players.
Yeah, I know.
And is around them the most and sees them and is right there all the time. I mean,
But
if he doesn't like
historically-
the way a guy's, you know, why shouldn't he be able to, you know, push a button on him?
I think you should have. Well, historically, a coach that's both, it's never gone well. You know,
Scotty Bowman did it.
but when? How long ago?
Buffalo Sabres. He was. Yeah.
So, I mean, I go
You
back
know,
to
I don't
Mike
know.
Keenan here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying
I-
that Armstrong's not
Right.
the GM. I'm just saying that if Craig Berube wants to get rid of a guy,
And
they got to get rid of
And
him.
I have no problem with the coach, like you said. He's intimate there. He knows the intimate knowledge of the locker room.
Where before, the GM was calling all the
Right.
shots. He was
So-
telling these guys who to play, when to play him, where to play him, who to trade, who not to trade. Doug Armstrong was controlling a little, you know, way too much with that organization.
And I'm okay with the control in Berube's hands. I just think as a title, as another thing to do, I don't think it ever works out well.
I don't think he does the day-to-day
Right,
GM.
and that's
I
what
think
I'm
that's
getting
what
at.
Armstrong does.
And that's
You know,
perfect. I'm good with
You
that.
know, he fills out the paperwork.
I'm
But
okay.
if
Yeah,
what
there you
I'm
go.
saying is when it comes to players coming and going,
Yeah.
he has a say.
And I'm okay.
So am I.
I am perfectly okay with that.
And that just gives him more, you know, respectability behind the bench from his players. Because if they know that, guess what? They're going to play for him.
Hey,
And if you don't, you're gone.
you think we could send Dallas an idea for a third jersey? Or
Mike
is it too
Keenan was
late?
coaching
That's what I
general
just said.
manager, too. Yeah.
I said, how did that
Yeah. Well, he was a disaster. He was a
What do you think of Mike Keenan? Can we talk
well.
about it
He
a
was
little
a you know
bit? He
he-
was a megalomaniac.
he was
right?
an egomaniac.
Right? When he
was
got
an
here,
egomaniac.
he was the guy I mean, he was
Well, that whole Iron Mike thing started in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know, he, they
He's not celebrated. I'll tell you that.
no, they didn't like him. I mean, look. Let's just break it down. You don't walk into your locker room in between periods in a playoff game and chew Wayne Gretzky's butt off in front of the whole team. You don't do that.
No.
To try to show everybody who's boss.
Yeah.
No, you just don't do that.
He was a pro. I never cared for him. I didn't like that we got him. Yeah.
He did get Chris Pronger.
Yes, and I've said that.
Mm-hmm.
He did bring Chris Pronger against everybody's wishes, and everybody was
Well, they had no choice.
no, but still, he still worked out that deal.
We
though,
had
right?
a little situation.
I understand, and we all know the situation.
We know the situation.
But so then you would
with
think
Mr. Shanahan,
we
Mr.
would-
Brendan Shanahan.
But you would think then that the other team would have no incentive. What do they need to bring? And he was able to say, "All right, we have this problem." I mean, I'm going to put him up there. Today, Shanahan or Pronger as a player?
Can't have both.
I know you got to pick between one.
They're both great. Well, you know what?
I'm going to say Pronger.
Because he's a defenseman, and I got to go with Chris.
I'm going to say if you brought Pronger onto a team, he changed the team.
Oh.
If you brought Shanahan on, he enhanced the team. He didn't change it.
And then another political
was
situation
that.
sends Pronger away, right?
Right.
You had Larry Plow, who's Mr. Pro USA Hockey, right?
Yeah.
Couple American borns here trying to run the show. Again, kings of the mediocrity, right? Just, hey man, let's just, this is the way it's
Still
going.
fill it every weekend.
Yeah, and then you got Chris Pronger, right, who's like super intense, wants to win at any cost.
Right.
And, maybe butts heads with a couple of those guys. And guess what? So what do? They ship him to Siberia, and the other guys stay.
Up until this year, he ended up.
And if you believe the story that Mr. Laurie told him to cut payroll,
Yeah.
that's not the reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe you.
Anyway.
But he got a Stanley Cup, so what did he care?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of Blues players did. They went on and did great
They did
things.
great things.
Yeah. Imagine that. Anyway.
Yeah. So what do you think of Bennington's mask with what's he got? Liud on it?
Cujo.
It's Cujo. He's got Cujo on it.
Yeah.
I think
Nice
that's
little
cool.
shout out to
I
Cujo.
like that.
He was a good guy, right? Good goaltender.
Right.
Another guy that didn't get along with Mr. Keenan. I don't know that he didn't get along with him. I just think that Mike Keenan didn't have a lot of faith in him.
Right.
And for whatever reason was on his case about being a big moment goaltender.
Right.
And he was gone, and again went on
And did what?
greater things elsewhere.
Yeah. Here he wasn't.
Anyway,
doing
we
it.
could have a whole.
Yeah,
We could
I
have
know.
we could have a whole show on.
Do you think?
Pre-Stanley Cup St. Louis Blues?
So we're intimate with the Blues. We know the
Yeah.
Blues back and forth, but do you think other franchises have the same situation to our level that we have here of ex-players that have gone off to become great elsewhere?
No.
I'm going to say, yeah. I mean, I agree with you.
No, I don't think there are.
I think if we went down the line, the number of players and the skill and the talent that left St. Louis and went elsewhere and did great things is probably longer than anywhere else.
Let me tell you something, and I'm going to tell you what's going to negate that. There were like 29 Stanley Cups won in the last 50 years during the Blues' existence in the league that were won by teams that came into the league the same year or after the Blues did. Think about that.
Right.
That's not something that's a bad stat for the St. Louis Blues leading up to last year.
Would you say, were we one of the last? I think we were one of the last of that year, the 67 or whatever it was when the Blues first came in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else.
The Sabres?
The
Or did they
Sabres,
come
maybe.
in
I think it was
a little
I think it was the Sabres.
Yeah,
I think
they're the
ones. Yeah.
they're the only.
But yeah, no, I
other
agree.
Second, 16.
I mean, you just go down the list and you just tick them off one at a time, and you get Stanley Cup winners.
Right.
Were here. They weren't
Right.
good enough to be Blues, but they were good enough to win Stanley Cups with other teams.
Yeah, right.
I was just curious. I thought, hey, you
You
know,
can go on. I mean,
if you
can
go
Doug
to,
Gilmore, you can go. I mean,
well,
the list goes
there's
on. and
Oates,
on.
there's Gilmore, there's Hull. I'm going to say no, but still, he did. He left here and won a Stanley Cup. Curtis Joseph.
He won more than one.
I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
and he wasn't here.
He wasn't here when he did it.
Oshie to me is the modern example of that, right? He was never good enough as a Blue. He was beloved as a Blue.
Yeah.
Because he was never used.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
the right way.
Well, and he had some personal problems. I mean, he had some.
Well,
he was fighting some demons. He wasn't real focused. He wasn't,
But he goes out there and gets focused.
He was partying a little too much. Well, I think sometimes it's a wake up.
He had a kid.
It's a wake up call for a kid to get traded for the first time. He probably thought. He probably thought like most young players do, and they come on a team. They think they're going to play there for the rest of their lives. Yeah. They've never been traded. They don't know what it's like, and they don't even think about it. And so therefore, they just think year in and year out they're going to be in this town that I'm playing in, and then when they do get traded, it's like, wow, I think I better get my what together.
It's a grown-up game all of a sudden.
It's time to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have some real issues with him. I mean,
well,
you want to get into it. I mean,
no, I contend he was never going to make it here.
And Eric Johnson, the same thing. The first round draft pick.
Yeah. But Oshie was never going to make it here because of the way we didn't have the system that he excelled at. When he got to Washington, he was in a system, in a place where he could play to his strengths. He didn't have that here.
He went to a better team.
Well,
Let's face it. I mean, the Blues were nowhere near the status of the Capitals.
But he made them better.
Well, sure he did.
Yeah.
Sure he did. He was a nice little addition.
But what I'm getting at is the style. I don't think he would have increasing the talent in St. Louis would not have made things better for TJ.
He was going to be a much better player on a Washington Capitals team than he was going to be on a St. Louis Blues team.
Agree.
Okay, just like if Jonathan let's say the Blues drafted Jonathan Taves instead of Eric Johnson.
Right.
I don't believe that, and we know he's having a bad year this year. I don't believe that Jonathan Taves would have been the same player as a St. Louis Blue as he became with the Chicago Blackhawks.
100% agree with that.
You understand what I mean?
I agree with you 100%.
Okay?
Yeah, without a doubt.
So sometimes it's got a lot to do with your environment. You become a product of your environment.
Yeah. And they were able to build around him, and they knew how to build around him. I don't think the Blues necessarily would have built around him. So
around
Jonathan Taves.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I understand.
They slapped the C on him right away. I mean, I think he was like the youngest captain in NHL history.
They understood what they had. They knew how to work. I mean,
Steve Yzerman might have been the youngest. I'm not. Yeah. He might have been, but anyway.
Yeah. So they, you get Kane. So they were able to build this team around him, but they know how to, right? I never thought up until now that the Blues knew how to do that.
No.
So.
There was just too many people trying to take care of themselves, and in my opinion, I've watched this franchise for a long time, and people just wasn't about going out there and winning Stanley Cups. I don't think that was really ever the true focus here.
Another team that's like the Blues?
Collaboratively.
Yeah. Another team I've always said I think is like the Blues, Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, sure. We just mentioned them.
They've always been the same exact
They've never won a cup.
You look at the people that have gone through there. They've gotten.
Oh gosh, you're right.
And you think
but a lot of those guys were lifers, right? They played there their whole career. Guys like Danny Gare, the French Connection, Rod Gilbert, Gilbert Perreault, Jim Schoenfeld, the great defenseman, teamed up with Jerry Korab, who was I remember those guys. They used to be two big guys. They used to both wear turtlenecks under their uniforms. Man, I remember that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. They had some great players, great goaltenders.
Yeah. And never
Bob Sauve and
another franchise that they could just get away with whatever they were doing, and the people still came. So there was no incentive for that group to do any better.
Right.
I mean, the management group, not the players.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You're right. The Blues and the Sabres mirror each other in a lot of respects.
Right.
You're right. Yeah. I never really thought about it, but
and they had the same thing with coaches. They would bring coaches in that they thought were great, and it was the same kind of You know.
Well, they even brought in, like we said, they even brought in Scotty Bowman for a handful of years, and he was the GM coach, and he couldn't even get it going. You know, and I don't know what the issue was there, but yeah, I don't know.
It's management, man, management.
Yeah, but a great hockey market, right? People would come to the all that's packed that place, and you know, it was just, yeah. But you know, now they got a new owner who, you know, is a bit of a fan, you know, what's not, but is passionate about his hockey team, and maybe that's, you know, hopefully he can. Now he's been owner now for a number of years now. He's not a new owner, but yeah, I mean, hopefully that passion is kind of filtered down through the organization
because they have talent.
They're going to start. Yeah,
you know, they have star caliber talent, and so there's, you know, Carter Hutt
went off.
Right there,
he hasn't done great things
not yet.
I mean,
but he's a number one
but
now.
He's playing pretty good. He's playing pretty good, pretty solid for the Buffalo Sabres. Yep.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think we've.
Is it time to go manja?
I think we've set enough. Yeah.
All right.
I'm definitely ready.
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I think we've laid it all out.
That's Jay DiMaggio.
Mr. Joe Fresta. And we are the Hockey Hitmen. Tell us what you think about our new
studio.
Backdrop, our
it's
new
tremendous.
Studio. Look at that, right? It's like we moved.
Look at all that hardware.
Till next week, everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao.